Hey guys, welcome back to Ruck Roll, and I just want to thank every single one of you that's been lately watching my videos. Such a blessing, and I am so thankful for every single one of you that support me. So today's reaction is all going to be around the press conference after the game. Now, Jacques Nienaber, again, the very first question is about the goal kicking. Now, just check this in the response.
Goal kicking now becomes a legitimate question.
No, obviously they were, hats off to Ireland, they were better than us on the day. And yes, I think we missed a couple of points off the tee. And but I won't say that's the reason solely. The first half alone, we lost 2 balls close to the try line. I think probably a metre off the try line, and we had another 2 opportunities later on in the game. So I think that 4 opportunities and the opportunities we have to get points off the tee is probably the reason why. But I won't say it's only goal kicking, but I know you guys will probably say that.
There are points that have been consistent in terms of goal kicking. We saw it again today, but what do you guys do moving forward now in order for you guys to be successful in all those facets that everyone has mentioned here today?
We missed a couple of kicks. You know, downplaying it every game. The last game, we don't have a problem with kicking. Every single game, I don't understand this coaching staff. They've got high standards when it comes to everything in the Springbok team. But for some reason, the kicking, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I mean, missed a couple of kicks. Faf had 0 out of 2. Mani had 1 out of 3. That gives you a 20% success rate. Now, guys, what I don't understand is any other rugby coach will not feel that's good enough. Jacques Nienaber does what he always does. He deflects when it comes to kicking. He's been doing it right through this World Cup and in the build-up games to the World Cup. South Africa's had this problem probably for the last 2 years in rugby, where they're trying to experiment with all these kickers. It seems like they're still experimenting, and how he deflects is talking about other parts of the game. We know that the Irish was really good at the breakdowns and at times beat the Springboks at the breakdowns. But the Irish also beat the Springboks at times in the scrums and in the lineouts. They were able to compete in everything. That's why they are number 1 in the world. And that is why it was such a good battle between these 2 teams. But if both teams are playing at a 70% in all those areas, lineouts, scrums, mauls, turnovers, and everything from both teams are really good. They had a high standard. How do we go to kicking? And you look at Johnny Sexton, 100%, and you look at the Springboks and you're like, hold on, 20%. Now you can say, it was just this game. No, it's not just this game. Let's just look at the World Cup. I mean, the game against Scotland, Mani Libbok kicked 2 out of 5 kicks, and Faf had 1 out of 2. And then a no pressure type game against Romania. Faf could only kick through 1 out of 2, and Willemse had a pretty decent day with the boot, and he had a 5 out of 7. Which again puts them on about 60%. South African rugby, the Springboks have not seen an 80% success rate on kicking since forever. What concerns me is it seems like Jacques Nienaber, the coaching staff is a bit hard-headed, and it's almost like there is denial. Mani's going to come right. Mani Libbok's going to be the guy. We believe in you, Mani. We believe in you. I understand that when it's not a World Cup year, but this almost going into denial because you want someone to be good, and it's going to be at the expense of a whole nation supporting the world champions, and it could be at the expense of world champions, that you hard-headed and in denial is a big problem. Because if you think about it, at any time in this game against Ireland, we see Willemse was even kicking better than Mani Libbok. They could have given the kicking boot or the kicking tee to Willemse, and Willemse could have maybe slot through 1 or 2, but they persistently said, okay, long range is Faf, closer range is Mani. We don't go off our game plan. We believe in our players. Now, why they can believe in their players and all the other avenues of Springbok rugby is because they're really good. You can believe in your players when you look at breakdowns, scrums, turnovers. The Springboks are really good at all those things. They lose sometimes, they win sometimes, but their percentage rate is at least like in the 70s. But for some reason, why do you keep believing in your players when you've got a place kicker that can't do it. Now, Manie Libbok from set play, from anything else, from a running type game, brilliant. Great distributor of the ball. I still see him being that guy on the 10 jersey. He's been outstanding. But the kicking tee, guys, the kicking tee shouldn't be with him. I mean, it's over and over been proven now, you know. He fails under that pressure with the kicking. He's just not got that temperament for kicking at post, where Pollard has got it. So guys, I'm not going on here just to be a crying baby. Irish deserved the win. As I've said, they also left points on the table by at the start going for tries and not for the posts. I get it. They won the game. No issues. I could be crying about a whole lot of stuff like the very last, maul. I don't understand how that ball was not out. But game is game. It's over. And you know what happens in almost all the games, say in the last 2 years, so many games, is because they make these poor decisions on the kicking. All these close games, you know before the time, if I asked you if it was going to be a big scoring game between these two teams and one's going to beat the other far, you're always going to tell me, no, it's going to be really close. So surely the coaches also know it's really close. Then what they do is they don't put good kickers in the team. So because of the persistence wanting to keep going with the same kickers, what eventually then happens is that now the Springboks have to look at every single decision, because let me tell you, if there was enough of a buffer build up with the kicking game, then one or two decisions not going your way is fine. And it's easy from a Springbok supporter's perspective to point out the one or two things that was incorrect calls by Ben O'Keefe. But so does the Irish have one or two calls. But the difference is Sexton kept them in the game by converting. There's two ways, guys, that you can score points in a rugby match. It's by scoring tries and it's by converting kicks. And quite often you saw this with Argentina and England. It's the team with the kicking boot, the fly off with the kicking boot, that wins the game for the team. So it's a much harder to go score a try. It's hard work to go score a try. It's much easier to just put through a drop goal or to convert kicks. It's not always easy, but a lot of those kicks are super simple. I mean, I think even Russie's trying to make the point. I see videos floating around where Rassie in training with the Springboks are kicking them over, and he's kicking kicks over that Manie Libbok's missing, you know. So the fact is, it is a lot easier to build up scoreboard pressure through kicks than it is through scoring tries. And that doesn't mean you throw Manie Libbok out of the team. Now you might say to me, Joe, what do you do? I think Willemse needs to stay at fullback. He's better than Willie Leroux. It's been proven over and over now. I mean, they can play him in the minnows games. But Manie Libbok, I believe, should stay at 10. What he does with that back line, Pollard was just not always able to do. The way he unlocks that back line with his front foot type ball, distributing the ball and moving very quickly. You can literally bring Pollard in on an outside centre. I must say Jesse Creel wasn't outstanding today. Sometimes he leaves questions in his defence. We know what a good defender Pollard is. Slot Pollard in the 13th position. Very simple change. And let Pollard become your place kicker. Let Pollard play most of the games. And at the end, if you want to sub him, give it to Willemse. Or if you really want to, if the game is far ahead and you know you've got a good buffer and score, give it to Manie Libbok. Let him start getting his practice. But you don't put this guy under pressure with no backup. Your backup kicker is also not up to scratch. You know, so I am really, really happy to see Andre Pollard back in this team. I am really happy to see that. But my question that I will pose is, how are they going to use him? Are they going to put him on the bench when you've got a guy that can put score for you on the big games and keep you in the game? Or are they actually going to use this guy cleverly? Are they going to say, no, he's a 10, so he competes with 10s? Or are they going to think out the box, seeing that they've moved everyone else around in positions? Are they going to actually give Pollard maybe a chance on outside centre? It makes total sense. Then they have so many kickers on the field. And, you know, all I will finish this video off with is saying is that the Springboks, the whole world knows this is a really good informed Springbok team. Everyone that watched that game versus Ireland knew that it was very competitive, but the Springboks could have closed it down if they had a good kicker. It is a fact. So that is the difference between losing and winning. Is a good kicker quite often in many games. Now, if the Springbok coaching team, Rassie and Jacques Nienaber, wants to be sorry after this World Cup, I know Siak supports everything that Jacques Nienaber says, but obviously they're a team. They got to back each other. But I'm sure some of those players are sitting on the sideline and saying, come on, we got to do something here. Because all the players play their heart out. It's blood, sweat and tears. And then the kickers go and miss. Mani goes and hooks simple kicks. And the problem is it's hard to score tries, guys. It's a lot easier to put the points on the board with the kicking, as I've mentioned. But what I would say is they're going to throw this World Cup opportunity away if they keep persisting to be in denial and do what they're doing, guys. Mark my words. You cannot keep going on and just say, oh, we believe in Mani. We believe in Mani. Yes, maybe next game Mani slots through a few, but it's not a big game again. Next big game is probably quarterfinals. And by the way, sorry to everyone. If you watched my last video, I actually said that the Springboks might play New Zealand now. No, they will be playing France because it's 2 versus 1 in the other pool. France in Pool A is first. Springboks in Pool B is second, so they'll play out. And the All Blacks will probably face the Irish. But if they go up against France and they're under pressure like this again, the question then is, can Mani perform? Probably not. We've looked at all the past games now, just in the World Cup. Springboks are not able to get above a 45% success rate between Faf de Klerk and Mani Libbok. As soon as Willemse kicks, it goes up a little bit. But again, that was against Romania. Come again, the big games. Is Mani going to be able to do it? Not in my mind. You're going to put Pollard on the bench until the second half because you need to use him as a fly-off? Or you're going to say, you know what, I'll use Pollard as an outside centre. He's going to be better than Jesse Kriel, in my opinion. He will be better than a Jesse Kriel. His defence is definitely better than Jesse Kriel. And you'll have that kicking boot. Anyway, hey, we're just rugby fans. What do we know? We all can see what's best for the team, but this is not something complicated. Like a lot of the times the coaches will say, oh, you guys like Eddie Jones do that. You could see Jacques Nienaber with his grin at the end when the question was asked again. We as fans don't like to see that. I don't like the way that Eddie Jones speaks to everyone when he gets asked questions that makes him feel uncomfortable, laughing at people and attacking people. Jacques Nienaber also kind of laughing at the press because they asking questions that actually hurt and make sense. But because they want to stick to their plan, they want to stick to their plan. The obvious things, like kicking, it's obvious for everyone. It's simple. You put down a tee, you kick. You miss or you over. We can all see that there's changes needed. So just think nicely, coaches. Come on. Don't be in denial. Get yourselves right. You know what? You'll take the Springbok team, if they can start kicking in the 70s to 80%, you'll take them to serious contenders. You know, you can never say never that they can't lose against a team, but they're going to have such a good chance of winning this World Cup. Anyhow, guys, if you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Cheers, bye.